All right.
Hi guys.
We're probably going to be, I think we're going to be about 5 or 10 minutes um, before the actual event. Oh, people are already starting to fly in.
Yeah.
Haha.
And if we're gonna be a
Hello.
small group, we can do a lot of QA as well. Like I like
Yeah, it
QAs
looks like a
more
whole bunch of
than
people are popping up.
yeah.
Carlos, Dennis, Eduardo, Cynthia. Wow, it's a little too fast.
It's good.
Yeah, this is great. Elizabeth, Fatima, Luana, John, Kimberly, Kristen. Uh, give us some,
So
give
it
us a
will be
hello in the
great.
chat.
Anytime like there's a web luminaire, it will be great for people to put their company names near
Yeah.
their names instead of surname. It's always great. Uh, so
And where
other
you're
people,
located too.
yeah,
Yeah.
that will be
How
great
about
too.
company? Could you put it in the chat too? Company name, which country you're in, and then
Yeah.
how many employees you have or how many workers you have,
Do you do
depending
you
upon
do
the
you want to have a
definition.
do you want to have a crazy hack as well, guys? If you put a hashtag, you will be on top of the list.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, that's true. That's funny.
Not the letters, not the letters. And I have to try with asterisks as well. I'm not sure about asterisks, but if you put hashtag, you are on top of the list. And anytime I go to a big web webinar with like 100 people, 200 people, I put like two hashtags and you are number one.
So we're going to get
So
into this in a little while. Just to kind of give you guys a breakdown, if you don't know Remote Team already, oh, it looks like it's all coming in. Great. And we'll go through that in a couple seconds here. So if you don't know Remote Team already, Remote Team is one of the absolute leaders in a very boring problem that is probably one of the biggest problems towards the proliferation of not only remote work, but also the proliferation of location independence, which I think maybe we could get into as well inside of this talk, which is if you have employees in different countries, there are a lot of legal implications for your corporation. And I can give you a context of where we're at right now. We have people in about 34 different countries, and
yeah,
some of them are contractors, some of them are employees. But what we had to do, because we didn't have the infrastructure that currently exists now, um, and something like RemoteTeam, we had to build up a whole bunch of subsidiaries. So we actually did it like the very expensive and wrong
way.
way, which was setting up subsidiaries for everyone. And now if we ever want to acquire if the company ever wants to get acquired, they not
You
only
got
have to purchase the US entity, but then they have to purchase all of those subsidiaries, and the amount of due diligence that you have to do to
it's
be
insane.
able to figure out, well, is your Canadian subsidiary getting sued? Well, we have to do a completely separate form of due diligence to be able to have that happen. This is a big problem, and that's one side of it. But then also, too, you can get straight up sued by governments that will come after you for payroll taxes. So we're going to break that all down. I already saw the presentation. I think it's pretty interesting stuff. We're also going to be able to see like the history of where we're at right now. Some of the stuff that we've got here is pretty cool and interesting information, particularly in the context of COVID and remote work. So we're going to be getting into that too. I'm pretty excited about it. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to have Sain go through the presentation directly, and I'm going to also be the representative of you guys and also just myself. So if I find an interesting question that I want to ask throughout the presentation, I'm just going to stop him, interrupt him, and then we can kind of talk that out. And also we'll have a ton of time for Q&A at the end. But if you guys have any questions, please post it in the chat whenever you want, because I can also pull that out. I'll be monitoring the chat as well, so that I can pull that out and I can literally jump in and say, hey, wait a minute, that previous slide, John has got a question, as an example. And also too, I have a brand new Stream Deck. So my computer is here, but my new DSLR is here. And I think it looks pretty cool. This is the first time I've ever used it. So if I'm looking down here from time to time, I apologize, but I will try to make sure that I'm looking at the camera as much as possible. But fundamentally, you don't really need to look at me. It's more a remote team show. All right, we're at
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Liam. Like I always love your energy. Like when you are in the room, it's always a great energy, great start.
I have a lot of coffee today too.
Yeah, I have my like a spring nice water as you can see it in the virtual background, and we love running remote. I really personally believe the agenda of the running remote, what you guys are trying to do, and what you guys did even before people believe that we can work remotely. It's not now.
You know,
It's
I'm
sort of
telling everyone
obvious,
now,
right?
we were doing remote work before it was cool,
Yes,
right? Like
but
that's
it's
the
cool.
thing. The other thing that's funny too is we're now, so, and you've been in the industry for a while, so you would, you know this. My measurement of whether you're legit now is, did I know you before COVID? If I knew that you were a remote work advocate or you were running a remote company before COVID, then I immediately trust you. But there's so many fly by night remote work experts that seem to be popping up. I literally have 3 books that were sent to me in the last week, all
Yeah,
about remote work, and
exactly.
it's kind of like, I don't know who you are. So it's interesting, like remote work is becoming so big now. And for anyone that just doesn't recognize that it is going to become the new dominant way that we work, you're not reading, you're not reading the tea leaves properly. So
Exactly.
if you're
And
in
it's
this webinar, it's going to be very exciting. I think you're going to just be getting stuff that, not many people on planet Earth understand now, but within the next 6 to 18 months is going to be absolutely critical for you to succeed inside of remote work. And I'm also just very excited about remote work in general, as you had already mentioned.
so this is fun. I had 4 companies in Silicon Valley and 4 companies in Europe, and I had multiple exits. I joined 6 accelerators, raised from 100 investors, and have 400 employees in my lifetime. And boy, I never had
Wow.
office. I never had office in my
Wow.
life. I only went because one of my co-founders was crazy about the office. I went in office for 1 year in my life, commute, and I hate every single of it. Like the traffic, and I had a vendetta against all the offices. I think it's when we punish our people in our society, we send them to a place for a limited time, and we call it prison, right? And I believe office, you are sending people to the office for 8 hours. I really think it's prison. And now we are in an age that I think people are not realizing, but we are like something like an industrial age. Like we were farmers, moved to factories. From factories, we were moving to big corporate America, old like cubicles. Now we are moving back to our roots, that people can work from anywhere, anytime, and non-linearly. So that crazy British invention of 8-hour work, 8-hour family, 8-hour sleep is also changing, because we don't need to work linearly anymore, right? And I remember 8 years ago when I first moved to Silicon Valley, building my first company, we were like a fully remote team, and investors, people in Silicon Valley, like, and I have a billionaire investors like Mark Bineroff and people like that, very smart people. They told me, remote work doesn't work. Don't do remote work. You will not get acquired. You need to have a local office. You need to have a local team. Like, we don't believe in remote work. I had that. I had that people saying, and now it's totally opposite. But I have a very different way of looking why it is working, why before COVID at least. And I believe I will share a screen. I believe there is multiple trends happened in the world. Okay, the first trend is, I think we become sort of, the tech world become, I believe there are 6 trends. The first trend is very interesting. Founders are becoming international in Silicon Valley. So people are coming from all over the world. Before
Are we
Trump,
getting into it already? Are we getting into it and you just jumped directly to this slide? Because there's so much more exciting stuff beforehand.
Okay. We don't need to jump. What's
I
the
think this is
exciting
too much.
part?
This is like the presentation is actually really, really good. Let's not destroy people right there. You just got a
Okay.
little bit of a taste.
So
By the
okay.
way,
So I
an
believe,
honorable mention in
yeah.
2013, we ended up getting four term sheets.
So, okay.
Four term sheets. Okay. They said your numbers are great. Yeah, we want to do a Series A. Exciting, blah, blah, blah. All four
But
term
you are
sheets
removed.
said you must move to Palo Alto, San Francisco, New York, Montreal. And we said, like, we're a remote work company and we sell products to remote workers. Don't you think that that's a bit of a problem? And the
Yeah.
answer that I got from every single one of those VCs was, listen, we love your angle. We love it. We're venture capitalists. Trust us. We know what we're doing. This is the way that you build a business. You don't build a business distributed. So
Exactly, right. And
how,
when was this? When was this? Like 5 years, six
this was
years?
2013. Yeah.
It's
So this
same.
was like,
Yeah.
it's so crazy. And now, VCs are closing deals on Zoom.
Yeah.
Like
I,
this is
I
now the
never
new
met
normal.
I never met any of my investors in the last 1 year.
Wow.
It's crazy. And um I live
Why
in
don't
the
you
Bay
boot
Area.
Why don't you boot it up? Because we're probably now at the point where we should start it up. And I'm just going to go through some of the other people that have popped in and give some shout outs here. We got Namita, who is from ISHIR, India, 200 plus employees. Very exciting. Kristen, Talent Software Services, Minneapolis, 150 people in the company. The reason why I say these kinds of things is like, you guys can all reach out to each other on our private Facebook group or on our Twist group. So if you hear these names and you're like, oh yeah, I'd really like to learn from someone who has 150 employees remote, like this is definitely someone that you should get in touch with. Kristen, as an example. We've got, let me just see here, 35 employees from Sandra, ORCID, based in US, but global. Fantastic, Sandra. We've got Spain here. We've got Brazil. Andrew's from Brazil. We've got Daniel, who's in Barcelona, Spain, which is very exciting. Oh, this is a good one. Andrew Jernigan. This is for you. I'm so grateful to RemoteTeam and Sahin for my new podcast setup kit. I was the winner during the last Running Remote Exhibitor Spotlight survey
That's so
selection.
cool.
They are awesome.
Thank you. Yeah,
That's great.
yeah, thank you. Welcome.
We've
I
got
chatted with him and say, man, like instead of we give you a big gift card and you buy anything you want, then I think everyone like should have really good. I don't have it, but I should get it too. Like a good camera, good lighting, good microphone, and oh boy, Zoom is so slowing down the computer that we need to come up with something else too.
one of the other things I just recently started, I got these. They've been great for me because the mics are really good,
Yeah.
and the ability to be able to just have them sync with all of my different Mac devices has been amazing. We've got TopTal here as well, Edgar from TopTal, which is pretty cool. We've got Luis, who's CEO of Rootlow Enterprise Social Network, helping companies to humanize remote work for their employees.
That's
very interesting.
wow.
ROOTLO. I'll check that out. We got Ryan from Salt Lake City and Barcelona. That's funny. Everyone's distributed, which is really cool. I've got Anna from Ireland.
Yeah, all over the world.
Yeah, keep them coming in, guys. I'd love to be able to keep getting this information, super useful to us. So why don't you take it away, and I'll just, if I want to ask a question, I will. And also, guys, if you want to ask questions in the chat, ask it down in the chat, and then I can then communicate that information directly and pause his, or basically screw up his flow of his presentation.
Yeah, no worries. I actually like to more do a QA and like just a Joe Rogan style dialogue, like deep, I like
We
it
can get
more.
into that
So,
afterwards. I think that
so
this would be cool is like, we could do a little bit of Q&A. So everyone would want to stay around till after the presentation is over. We can do some Q&A and we can just sort of talk about like where we're at right now with regards to remote work. You have an excellent couple slides here on just how that came to be. So definitely want to get into it.
yeah, and actually, my real story is, before Remote Team, even I had Remote Teams, I was in the consumer world. I was building mobile apps. We built one of the biggest sticker app, and then we built one of the biggest augmented reality app, and we did a mobile social network, which Snapchat bought it. And
Wow.
I was sitting last August on in Stanford campus, and I was part of an accelerator called Stanford Startups. And there was like 30 founders in the round table. And then nearly everyone, I would say 80% of them international, like first time in their life in US, or they are second generation. So their father moved and they born here. So they are still have the affinity to the country, so they hire people from Spain. And then I look at the table, oh my God, everyone at Remote Team. And I said, I went to Costa Rica for a shamanic ceremony, and I actually had a huge visions about how the world will become remote. I saw the San Francisco in a apocalyptic way. Now it's like a doomsday, and actually it's done real.
Didn't that
Actually,
just
2 days
happen last
ago.
week? Yeah, that was just
Yeah,
last week.
yeah. It's buyers. Exactly. So, but
Okay, well,
I will
so
be
I guess we can
honest,
get
like
that deep into conversations, huh? We can talk about your like
later on. Yeah,
your
yeah.
shaman vision quests that you've been doing in Costa Rica,
Region
because
quest.
yeah,
Exactly.
sometimes I
Exactly.
don't know how deep we can
And
go on
then,
these calls, but that's
yeah,
very
that's why I
exciting
call it
too.
shamanic ceremony. That's why I call it shamanic ceremony.
As
So,
a
uh,
quick aside, one of the previous years at Running Remote, I won't tell you which one it was specifically, but ended up having a bunch of the speakers around. Anna may or may not know about this, but they all wanted to go on like a DMT vision quest. And
yeah,
I
that's a good
told
one.
them, yeah, and I told them that you can't do that because I'm legally responsible for your, like, I
Let's
am
see.
responsible for you until you end the conference. Once you guys are, your talk is ended, I said, I don't care what you do. You know, you can
Yeah,
go and
go
play
anything.
Russian
Yeah, yeah.
roulette with the, you know, with some guys down in the back. And so it was quite funny because they basically just realized, oh well, Liam is way too stressed out of this situation. So I basically put it down to or they decided to have like a don't ask, don't tell policy with
That's,
regards
yeah.
to me in that situation. Anyways, why don't you get into
Yeah.
it? There's
Yeah,
actually some
I'm
answers
getting
here,
into
and
it.
and
I'm
I'll
getting in
answer
like
the
30
questions
seconds.
too. Yeah, I'm going to answer the questions too in the chat that are coming in, and if they're really interesting, I'll stop you and, you know, just ask you the question.
Yeah, and and then I start to talk with the people in the Stanford Stardex, and oh boy, everyone had a different problem and some common problems. So we decided, okay, if we're gonna build this remote team, we have to build it like a platform. Like example, in the US, we have a accounting software called QuickBooks. You buy the accounting, but you buy the whole app ecosystem, right? Or you go Salesforce, you buy Salesforce as a CRM, but you are actually buying the whole app ecosystem. And we are actually in Remote Team, we are trying to do that because what I witness is payment, HR apps, all the apps, external apps that you are using, and then we call it Remote Happiness Platform that we didn't launch it yet. So we believe that there's 4 pillars there. And then I and my technical team worked for a very long time, and I have enough luck in life that I don't need to do this as a VC-backed company. I just want to build the biggest remote operating system out there. And then we started. So we pitch it as a remote team is a remote operating system that powers remote work operations, right? Very simple. And in reality, like operating I think people here are doing an amazing work. And if you look at around 99% of the world is not remote yet, right? Okay, people are going to remote very fast, but if you are not a non-tech company, people are not remote, right? They still want people to come to the office. They still need to track them. They still have these cards that you have to like punch. So the world is still not remote, right? We were like really the pioneers in the field to find the first gold. I always feel this when I go to running remote conferences. The people there are really the frontiers of the work, the future of work. So operating a remote team is really difficult. It's not like something simple. There's like onboarding, termination, payments, how you're gonna calculate your payroll, all the ITs. You hire someone, you have to add them on your Slack, Zoom, Google, all the IT things, all the time offs. Everyone is a different holiday. Even you have a local holiday, you have a different religious holidays. You have local laws. If you want to do a PO or an entity or an independent contractor, there's local compliance, all the documents. Everyone wants to get money in their dollar, but you have to send them in like the local currency. Like people give computers. It's just a mess. It's really not that easy. And people here are doing an unbelievable amount of work. Like it's not easy. So we actually said that we're gonna make this magical. And the cool thing is, I really believe this. I personally believe this. I believe the founders and the CEO of the company should be the user of the products. And when we see a good intersection between the people who is in the leadership positions and then building the product, building the service and using the service, it's really successful, right? I think one example is the Tesla cars. Like every time I drive that car, I said, oh boy, like Elon Musk is a product guy. This is not a car, this is like a product. So in RemoteTeam, we use RemoteTeam all the time. Like, so it's a perfect product. So it's like, and we are 40 people. Our company is pretty big. We are 40 people and everyone in RemoteTeam is using RemoteTeam. So it's, and plus we have some other companies doing similar things or some of our features that, and we have 400 companies using RemoteTeam with hundreds of, some of companies has 150 employees, some companies 40 employees, and we get a lot of feedback. And we work day and night, our team. Even our lawyer is here and he knows how to do a pull request. Like he knows how to code as well. So everyone works like unbelievable amount of hours to really build this operating system that we can cover everyone. We don't want to left anyone behind. And I don't need to build the perfect feature to have the perfect market fit to only focus on the 10,000 users that I will become $1 billion company. No, we said like we're gonna build something for even for 3 people or for 100 people. And if we believe that something is good and useful, we're gonna build it even 1% of the people using it. And this is how we look at the things. So in RemoteTeam, we have 4 pillars. And that 4 pillar is, we call it the payroll. And we are launching a remote bank, remote wallet, and remote card as well. That's coming in the new year. And we have remote HR tools that I think the cutest one I like is the holidays. And we get a lot of thank you emails from that because we support every religious holiday. So let's say you are a Jewish person living in US, your religious holidays are not your real local holidays, right? Or you are an Indian guy living in US or another Europe, like your religious holidays are not your real holidays, right? And in a weird way, somehow corporate America missed that, or corporate Europe missed that. Like we did this official holidays, but nearly everyone in Silicon Valley is not from US, but we still do this like government official holidays. We said like we're gonna
Right.
support the holiday out there, and we helps companies to decide, okay, you're gonna do unlimited holiday, you're gonna do maximum 30 days, and we notify people that we support like I think 100 plus religious holidays in our system, and we get thank you emails. Like we said, oh my God, I never realized that someone celebrate the holiday, or the company knows that you have that holiday if you select that feature. And the cool thing is I really like it because we have a lot of countries working in our company, and then I see a random holiday in Ghana. I said, oh my God, this is such a cool holiday, right? And then you learn, and there's a discussion, because I believe people can learn about their team members by just learning the holidays, the countries, their styles, their culture. Because in the old days of remote, we were working with people with from similar cultures, similar mindsets, right? But now we are becoming remote. So we have someone from South America, we have someone from Canada, we have someone from Europe, we have someone from Russia, someone from Pakistan, India, Turkey, and they are all coming together to build a great service. But everyone is different. Every culture is different, right? Every culture has amazing cool things, and every culture has some weird things. Especially in America, we have like very weird, like so many weird things going on in the US. But every culture has there's like pros and cons. I think in remote world we should embrace that and learn about cultures. And we have a lot of HR tools around that. Um, and
We
the
had a
last
very
few,
interesting problem with regards to our HR issues, and we've gone through two
yeah,
iterations. The first
yeah,
one was we just said, if you want to take time off, take it off. And any type of holiday that you want to take off, just tell us and you can take it off.
yeah,
And that was specifically for, so we have a specific amount of time for vacation time. And then we have basically, if you believe that it is a holiday that your respective country wants to take off, then take it off, right? And then we ended up having a bit of an issue where it was only with one employee, but they started coming up with holidays. And because we didn't know the country, it was a country in Africa, we just said, oh, okay, well, I guess I guess,
that's okay.
Timbuktu Day is the day that you should be taking off, right? And then we 2 years later, we looked at it and we were like, dude, you lied to us. That was not, none of those days are real, right? And so now we have a policy where we have like public holiday days that you can basically drop in to your entire system. So you have a certain amount of days from that you basically can have for public holidays, and then you can slot them in when you want to slot them in. And that's unfortunately the way that we've had to deal with it. But this would probably have just completely solved our issue, because we would have said, oh
Exactly.
yeah, okay, well, if it's not on RemoteTeam, then it's not a real holiday. So
Yeah. So
yeah.
the best solution is there's two solutions here, right? And when we are working remotely, people are more efficient. People are more happy, right? And Netflix did that. Netflix give an unlimited holiday, and when they give unlimited holidays, the amount of time off that people are taking was decreased, right? It's pretty interesting. Uh, so I guess most of the people in the web luminaire are sort of the leaders in their companies, the CEOs or the founders. So what we do, it's very simple. We give 30 days. Not it covers. I think we checked that the most countries with holidays are Turkey, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and I think they have like 24 days of holiday. So we said we're gonna match it and do 30 days holidays, right? And
Right.
then you can use it. You can use it as much as possible, but then there can be bad actors there, which is, let's say you are under a PEO in Europe, and you have to give that official holiday, government holiday to that person, right? So but there is some ways that you can do it. Like if he signs an agreement, like I want to work on this holiday, and I will use my pay time off in a different time. That's okay. But what I am suggesting everyone, because people are becoming more efficient in remote work, just give 30-day holiday or unlimited holiday. And even when I start to give 30-day holidays, 30-day pay time off, um, and some companies are starting to do that, like it's very rare that someone takes the full 30 days. It's really, really rare, right? Um, but this is like a great solution for everyone. Like it's very simple. It matches with every country. It's compliant with every country, and it's very simple, 30 day, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
As a quick aside, very quickly, I just want to hear your content, your perspective, yay or nay, just in the chat here. Reed Hastings, you just mentioned that Netflix was a big proponent of just open holidays. And Reed does not want, he wants everyone back in the office after the pandemic is over. Philip Braddock actually just mentioned this, which is that, because I've actually seen a couple of their pieces. What are your perspectives on Reed? Because, like someone that I think we really look up to, he's probably over the last 10 years, I believe that is the most profitable stock you could have ever purchased over the last decade.
Not
right?
like Tesla. Tesla killed it, but Netflix is like
Consistent
150
growth.
profit earnings. It's like crazy, right?
Right. So, I mean, he's doing something right? And he doesn't believe in remote work. He thinks that it's not the right way to work. If you could just give me 30 seconds on your perspective on that.
I think it's crazy, first of all.
Yeah.
If you are not...
I think we're both a little biased.
Yeah, it's crazy. I like him. I met with him personally, by the way, for my first company as an angel investor. I tried to get him. He's a very smart guy. But because you are profitable, because you are making so much money, you are building a successful product, you don't have any right to force people to come to office. And the funny thing in US, this is crazy, guys. US, most offices, you cannot open the windows, right? And none of the ACs has HEPA filters. It is like horrible, right? So if there is someone sick in the office, everyone is getting sick, right? And I can understand him because his office is in Los Altos, right? Los Gatos, sorry. And Los Gatos has beautiful redwood trees. He sort of built that office new. He spent $1 billion. Maybe it's crazy enough to say, I want people in my office, but you are a technical company. Like engineers are more efficient if they work from anywhere, right? And Netflix is a digital service. You don't need to go there. And by the way, Netflix has a weird rule that people don't have desks, at least in the old days. So you can go and sit anywhere in Netflix. So they are already sort of a hybrid, but I can understand a company like Apple in same privacy, or you are doing something defense that you are really need to be private and you don't trust your VPN. You don't trust your employee that he will tell the secret product to his wife. Fine, like bring them to the office, right? They spent $8 billion on office and they're only putting 10,000 people in Apple Park, which is $800,000 per person. I tweet this. You can send the RV to everyone's home and be less costly and spend less than $800,000 and even put a massage service on top of it. Like Apple spending nearly $1 million per person on Apple Park, and now it's empty. And it looks like a hospital, by the way. Like I went there. I went there multiple times. It looks like white marble, like a crazy person hospital. I don't know what they were thinking, but I think the world of office is over. It's over. Like people are like when you commute in the traffic, you are smelling this exhaust. You are smelling this, and you are going to a high traffic area. You spend 1 hour, as Elon Musk. It's soul killing. I think the era is office is done. Maybe we have places, we are still human, we still have souls, we are not machines. Like I think people have places that they will come together, but they will come together for socializing, knowing each other, not for work.
Francia is telling us to get back to the presentation. by the way.
Okay,
I need
okay.
to not ask you any more questions. Sorry about that.
Okay.
One more
Please.
side, Francia, sorry, just before we pop back. I believe here, we'll put it down on video. In 10 years, Reed Hastings is going to give a talk or a fireside chat at Running Remote, and it's going to be about how he was wrong about remote work and how he believes that remote work is the best model to be able to build Netflix. 10 years,
Yeah,
within 10 years from
but
now.
but he has a big ego. I don't think he will do
I know,
that
but
one.
like he's going to be really wrong. So I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that
Put
he's
it
just going to
there.
realize.
Put it there as a karma, and like maybe your fate plan will pull that. Just put it out there, and let's tweet him so he sees that we tell him that he's crazy. So and the third piece, okay, the first piece was the payroll, the payments. The second piece, all the HR apps that you need, like the documents, onboarding, offboarding, inventory. Some people give computers passwords, the time offs, reimbursement, all the things that you need. We have 25 plus HR tools. Like we have an organizational chart, which is time sensitive, and you can see the time differences. We have sort of some kind of a calendar, kind of very interesting for remote teams. So we have a lot of HR tools. And the third piece, I believe it's super important. Okay, you pay people, you have your internal HR tools, but what do you need next, right? The next thing you need is all the tools that we use today: Slack, Zoom, Google, Notion, Dropbox,
The
Loom,
stack.
all the stack you need. So, and the problem in this, if you have a 200, 100 people or 50 people or 30 people, like most of the time the founders are adding these people, or you spend so much time when you hire someone. Like I personally spend 30, 45 minutes every time I have to put them in Google, I have to put them in Slack, I have to put them in Notion, I have to put them in Google Drive. It's just a mess, right? And we actually build a system with one click. We call it Remote App Store. It works like magic, and it doesn't matter they have a single sign-on or not. We can, like, you can click with one click and you can add them on Desktime or Time Doctor or somewhere else. And we actually have right now 50 plus integration, and at the end of the year we want to have 250 plus integrations. And then we are adding something so magical. There is, we are adding a virtual cards, so you pay them with your virtual cards through the remote virtual card. So if you want to cancel it, you don't need to worry that they're going to charge your card or not. So, and that is
No, I
like,
understand what you're doing. That's very sneaky, by the way.
I
I'm
know,
sure
I
that
know, I
on your
know.
marketplace, you're going to be taking a nice little cut of that transaction as well, which I totally understand. But very, very smart.
Yeah, not really. I'm a very cheap guy, and I am a very bootstrap guy all of my life. We are actually giving more discounts. So the whole
Okay.
idea is, if you are a Silicon Valley company, you are lucky, right? You are part of an accelerator. You get 100,000 AWS credit, $50,000 Stripe credits. You get X amount of like Notion credits, right? But the world is going remote, and there's a lot of successful companies, successful startups out there don't have access to these perks, right? What
Mm-hmm.
is great about Silicon Valley is you have access to these perks. I think I never paid AWS in my 8-year history. Notion, we have $2,000 credit from Notion. You have credits from nearly everywhere, right? It's um, pretty unfair in my head. And because we are just what? Because we live in a geographic location and we get all these thousands of dollars of perks because you just join an accelerator and pay 6% of your company. I want to change that. I personally want to change that because I use all these perks building my companies. It decrease my cost like crazy. So we are very aggressive on the perk system. So we are actually, and we know, I personally went to 6 accelerators, so I know every perk out there sort of. And so we try to bargain them and get the best perks and offer it to the world. So we will have around like $100,000 worth of discounts. And like people will get Notion, Dropbox, a lot of discounts. And our goal is to make 20%. and charge the companies, not the users. And this is something that I'm really excited because a lot of people might not do just payments or they don't need HR tools, but a law firm might need these all the remote apps. And also we need a place to discover remote apps, right? Or anything related to the remote. Like some people are using Loom for screen sharing. Some people are using something else. Like some people are using Figma for design. Some people are using Zeppelin. So, and a lot of thousands of companies are becoming remote first time in their life. And everyone just knows Zoom right now, like grandpas, grandpa, they all know Zoom, but there's thousands of other tools that can make company efficient, and we're gonna do that. And the fourth piece is, I think it's really magical, but I will just, it's a little bit private, but for the sake of this running remote community, we are launching something called Remote Happiness. And this is more like, I have a thesis called your office is your office is your like new fitness center. Yeah. So your home is your office right now. So we're going to have something like a live DJ, meditation coach, diction reduction. So because people are becoming remote, cool. People are international. So I find a guy in Stanford University, he's a diction expert. So he can make people fix their dictions like 80%. So he can make someone talk in Russian language with a German accent. And he trains CIA presidents, and he's like willing to come to our platform and build classes for, okay, everyone is going Zoom, like how we can reduce people's dictions and make them talk a little bit more efficient, because now we have people from India, we have people from Pakistan, we have people from Turkey, we have people from Russia, right? And then we're gonna give courses like that, and we're gonna have thousands of cute things like that, like coffee and local perks, local things. So that is something I'm also very excited as well. So let's move to this is our platform, and then everyone here knows it. Like people want to work remotely. Remote work is going crazy. Like I will pass this. And
other than Reed, obviously.
Yeah. So why now is important. This is, I think a lot of people not fully realizing it. So we are becoming remote, I believe, for a few reasons. People are becoming more international in Silicon Valley. And I believe the second big thing is being a self-taught trend. So anyone in the world right now without going to college can become a tech expert. They can become a great junior developer, can become a great growth guy, right? This didn't exist before. You have to go to school, you have to spend 4 years, and then probably we didn't have mostly like a global system to understand. Now we have Udemy, we have Coursera, and I saw that people from anywhere in the world can become a very quick software developer, right? And then this actually make companies to become more remote. And I believe the next piece is the 5G. And when we have 5G everywhere, like people don't need to build, countries don't need to build infrastructures. We will have fast internet everywhere. And of course, the fourth one is Silicon Valley is insanely expensive. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. And millennials are rejecting offices and becoming digital nomad. And Silicon Valley is very interesting. It's very playbook driven. So if there's a playbook that works, they scale it and they try to scale. So we start to see a lot of companies who are becoming $100 million plus valued or money raised. So then they start to believe that remote work is possible, right? So and okay, I want to become remote. What is my current? So I'm actually moving to like sort of like a framework on hiring and working with someone remotely, right? So what is my current status right now? Did I work with someone remote or not? Considering expanding in new markets, this is more like we had someone in Ghana, Saibu, and Ghana is amazing for content writing because their first language is English. And I tell we had a great working culture and great work ethics with him and say, Saibu, let's go and have more people from Ghana, right? This is really important. So when you are hiring someone for the first time in that country, always have a long-term vision, long-term thinking that with that person, you can hire more people because you are learning that person's culture, how they are working, their work ethic, right? Have an international employee footprint. So, or independent contractors. So there is actually 5 ways actually to work. Let me go there. Sorry, where's that
By
slide?
the way,
So there
honorable
is
mention to Ghana. We have a couple team members from Ghana, and the first one that we ended up hiring, shout out to Tope, who still works in the company. He was, they are the world's best cold outreach email providers. So
exactly.
if you know, back in the late 90s to early 2000s, you probably got that Nigerian prince email that everyone else got. And that was basically people from Ghana that were doing that. And they are so good at it. And once Gmail basically killed that entire industry, then they had to go and get legit. So for anyone that's looking for a really good cold email outreach person, Ghana is the place to be. We also have 15 minutes. We may go a little bit over, but I just wanted to give you a heads up. I'm getting messages from people.
So I will do faster. So there's actually 4 options. One is independent contractor. I think it's the simplest, fastest, and we can go the pros and cons of it. The second one is a little bit more difficult, I believe, and it's a little bit more less compliance headache, but more operational headache is you go and open a local entity in that country, which I suggest everyone to stay away as much as possible until they become a really big company.
Agreed.
Agreed, right? You have the problem. And then the third option, PEO is we have PEO's network. So the PEO is a company that hire it through them, and they pay the local tax, government tax, employee tax, and employer tax. And PEO is, I think, the second best option. And the third one is outsource and software agencies. So in RemoteTeam, we are supporting every single of them. Maybe we are the only platform to support each of them. So when you hire someone, you can select that he's coming from a PEO through our PEO or someone else PEO. And then you can say, okay, this guy works in a local entity. And we are launching a payroll tax calculations in each country as well. So these are the options. And my suggestion is always, like everything else, is cost, complexity, and compliance. So I always say, look at the market. Are you hiring someone for short time? Is it an immediate hire or a future hire, or IP and retention? These are the things that everyone should constantly think about. And then so you choose your strategy based on speed, flexibility. Are you going to have assets in that country, the finance, the compliance? So my initial suggestion for everyone is also test the market, test the culture. So start with people quickly with independent contractors. And Ömer is here, he's our lawyer. We reach to 40 law firms. We really reached it. We have some competitors tell that they reach, but when we talk with the companies, that law firms, that they put it on their website, they really don't know that. Ömer is here, is a lawyer from Cyprus, and we reach to 40 plus local firms that work with tech companies and build a contract for nearly every country right now. And this contract is making sure that that person is a true contractor, because when you hire someone as a true contractor and sort of have an employer kind of relationship, that can get problem. But you are not Uber. It's very rare that the government will sue you for you are misclassifying a contractor for 2 people. But if you start to have 10, 20, or 30 people, and I think the mark is 25. Once you start to have 25 people in one country, you should start to consider, like, should I get a PEO, or I am crazy, should I get a local entity, right? But the size of your company, if you are making like $10 million ARR, then you can get, and you want to visit that country time to time, it might be a good idea to get if you have started to have more than 20 people in that country. But I have users, we have customers in RemoteTeam that has 40 people in that country, and we beg them, guys, like, go for a PEO. Everyone is very happy as an independent contractor, because when you are an independent contractor, I think it's great because you can deduct your computer, your office, your food, your car from your taxes, right? But if you are a full-time employee, you cannot deduct any of this. So I see a huge trend that a lot of people want to work like independent contractor, but you can still, if you treat them in the company as a culture, you are independent contractor, you are not equal to an employee, that's not a great thing, right? Everyone who you work as an independent contractor, and whole RemoteTeam is independent contractor. We have some PEOs and some local offices, but we just have one people. Most of the people are independent contractors. So it's really important, I think, and we actually built a great payment system for independent contractor. They can get dollars, they can get their local currency, and we have the best currency rates that out there. We give better currency rate than TransferWise, and we try not to make like very little money or not to make any money on the transferring. And we actually build a system, which is, I think, magical what engineering team did. Like, we build a system that we combine 7 different payment methods, payment rails, and then we optimize it for the global. So some people are paying Asia Pacific, some people are paying in South America, some people are paying Russia. We actually, our system automatically goes and sends the money through the cheapest and fastest, increase the cost really, really, really down, right? So the great start is independent contractor, and keep people as much as independent contractor as possible. And when you start to get big revenue, companies are getting bigger, then considering a PEO. And PEO is, you're fully locally compliant. That PEO handles the onboarding and offboarding, and offboarding is a mess in the world. It's so different on every single country. Like, if someone worked for you 1 year, you need to give them X amount of money. Or if, like in Holland, it's really, really different, right? So every country is different. So there's local PEOs, and we have a great PEO network that we find great PEOs that work with corporate America for years. And we have some PEOs in some countries as well. So the lawyers know the stuff, and we actually build the best contracts for the PEO. And when you have a PEO, you can get the local benefits, right? Which means health insurance. Everyone has a different kind of social security 401ks. Like, some countries has something called personal security. Right. You put 4%. Some countries says you can put any amount you want. So this is very different. And we actually made the system to make it very seamless. And in RemoteTeam, with one click, we smartly say that, okay, these 5 people under a PEO, with one click, you can pay all the payrolls without going into details. So we handle all these details for people. And then the third piece is a local entity. And this is, of course, the highest legal liability protection, offers a true market presence. So I have a lot of friends who has offices in 12 countries, and he likes it. Like, the guy really likes to have offices, go to these countries. And one advantage that people are telling me, when you have a local office, and we have a local office in 3 countries, it makes that country's people to join your company more motivated, like they are more motivated to join to your company because you have a local office there, even you are a Silicon Valley company or European company.
Right.
So it actually gives sort of a true market presence. And in other countries, like we see that you sort of like need an office, right? We have an employee actually in Pakistan.
Right.
He told me that when I work from home, my family doesn't believe I work. So they're constantly sending me to groceries. So I really need to have an office, right? So there is still a lot of families, a lot of people, and a lot of people that still like we have to go to office, right? So having a local entity sometimes give that advantage. And to be honest, like now there is a lot of knowledge base to build offices in other countries.
Can you?
It's
Maybe
not
I've frozen.
that difficult, like, but and it definitely had a lot of headaches having a local entities, right? So it's so my suggestion is always start as an independent contractor, have a PO, and based on your revenue or your team size, consider to have a local office. And in RemoteTeam, we support and we actually give the cheapest and the best service out there. Our POs is half, like way cheaper than anyone out there. And we are very aggressive on that. Like we find the best POs, like, and we are smartly selecting, should we build our own PO or work with a PO? Like in India, there is like a company, Prolex. They are like super smart. They are very experienced, and they build a PO that is $250 a month, right? There's no way we can beat that. So we partner with these companies, and then we
you're almost like the
hard.
UI for a lot of these companies, fundamentally, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And
That's cool.
We really motivate them and do it cheaper, because I don't believe a company who's just starting or 30, 40 people are willing to pay $1,000 for one person and pay 10 or 20% or even $600-700. I find it very expensive. So
well,
we work
especially
so
when
hard.
you go from a contractor relationship to then all of a sudden saying, oh, I'm going to pay this ridiculous extra amount of money. Like, it's a difficult. I'm getting hammered, by the way, on the other side from, I'm presuming it's Anna that's telling me like, oh, we have this much time. We have this much time left.
Okay, let's do quick. Let's do quick.
Yeah, like let's also like, let's jump into Q&A, but then also too, just, and Anna, tell me if I'm not allowed to do this. Just tell me in the chat privately or publicly, doesn't matter. Can we go longer than what we've defined here, or does the magical Zoom gods like shut us down in 5 minutes? And then also from everyone that's listening right now and watching in the chat, if you guys would like us to go a little bit longer, please let us know, because there are some questions and those questions probably need to get answered. And a lot of people have asked those questions and I want to kind of get through them. And if we can't do that, then I will do it super fast to make sure that everything's cool. But if we can go a little bit longer, just let us know in the chat. Oh, it looks like we got updated for a little bit. Cool. Okay, so a bunch of people are saying move to the QA now. Please let me know if you have to go now. That's totally cool, but I think we can stay around for a little bit longer and get into the questions, which I actually think are, to a degree, sometimes a little bit more interesting even than the presentations themselves. I think the big thing that you guys have to really understand is like, and you laid it out perfectly. If you're a small operation, if you're less than 10 people, and I'm not talking as a lawyer, nor do I have a law degree in any jurisdiction anywhere on planet Earth. So please don't take this as a legal opinion. And do not come after me afterwards if you said, oh, well, Liam said do X, Y, Z. But I'm going to tell you the entrepreneurial business way to kind of effectively run your business, which is if you've got less than 10 people and you're internationally distributed, and you're particularly hiring people that are outside of your home country. So let's say you're at like a US corporation and you're hiring from countries outside of the United States, contractor agreements are probably gonna be the way to go, as you had already laid out. But once you're over 10 people, or once you're doing $1 million ARR, or 10 million ARR, it gets a lot more complicated, and you're going to start to attract attention that you don't necessarily want to attract. So having this type of platform in place is going to be super easy for you to be able to cover your flank, particularly for someone who doesn't have like a COO yet, as an example, that like, our COO, their job is to literally just cover our butts constantly to say, oh, well, what do the lawyers say about XYZ, right? Which is also a separate conversation, which is ridiculous. Because it's like, oh, well, we have to spend $28,000 on this. Why do we need to spend $28,000 on lawyers? Well, because there's this situation. And it's like, yeah, but I could spend that on product or ads or something like that. This is a separate conversation. Michael, I'm talking to you, Mr. COO, but you need to be able to basically figure out the fundamentals.
We see companies in our platform, 50 people, 75 people, all independent contractor. And there's countries, I think, are building new system to support independent contractors. And I believe
Sure.
the world is going to be more independent contractor than the PEO, because for a country like Russia or Turkey, you are bringing dollar to your home country, right? It's very important. And they are doing systems like South America. They're gonna do systems because even it's fully compliant or not, like startups, companies are using independent contractors. They are your part of your team. I hate to use, I always say team member. I never be in RemoteTeam. We rarely use independent contractor. We put team member, right? It's part of your team, and they build it. And there is hundreds and maybe thousands of companies having people all around the world work legally as an independent contractor and have built all the products that we are using today, right?
Right.
And I said we have companies, I just remember like 100 people plus, all independent contractors. And it's very rare that you are not Uber, and there's very few legal formalities. I'm not a lawyer as well, that once you put it in the contractor agreement, you protect yourself 95%, I will say.
Right.
And then once you start to have a lot of money, once you start to become really big, then consider a PEO. But even we are seeing, like, guys, like we have a PEO, let's build a PEO. I see both the person, both the company, they don't want to do a PEO. And I think we are moving to a more independent contractor model in the world. This is what I feel. And this is what we see.
I think that's a really good pragmatic view, as opposed to the one that's like, so we have a question from Philip. He has a couple questions here actually, and I'm just going to repeat this for everybody so that you guys have context. Compliance. So digital nomads are very hard to solve for from the employer's perspective, especially related to compliance when there is company stock involved. How would you handle the logistics of a nomad? So maybe I can even just pull this in a little bit tighter for you. Stock options for a digital nomad. How would you do it if they're like, less than, they're like employee 4 as an example, and they're a digital nomad, and maybe they get a slice of equity when they join the company?
Exactly. This is something super cool. Ömer is here, our lawyer, and we are working with 2 big law firms in Silicon Valley to build an open source agreement for stock options. For non-US people. For US person, it's easier. For a non-US person, is it the restricted stock? Is it but if you are not if you are,
do you guys have a URL for that? Where
not yet, but it's coming.
Okay.
It's coming. We can launch it and make it. We're gonna make it open source as well. And we are working with like one of the 2 top law firms in Bay Area. And we are building an open source stock option part that you can give a stock option for anyone who is non-US. It's a non-US person can become an advisor in your company.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people to do the advisory route. That is, but I will say ask your lawyer, but I personally did as an advisory in all of my companies. And you put a vesting structure, and after vesting, an international person becoming a shareholder in your company is not very complicated from the IRS perspective, because they are not a shareholder. They are not a US taxpayer, right? But in their home country, they have to double check it as well. And I had a lot of international shareholders in my company, and it's not that complicated than people
As
think.
a non-US and individual as well, here's how I would do it and or have done it, but I am not a lawyer, and nothing that I'm saying here could be considered legal advice. I bet you your lawyer Omar is probably laughing at that. So
me too.
So what I would suggest that you do is set up a US holding company. You can actually do that through Stripe relatively easily. So you can set up a C Corp through Stripe. The costs are probably going to be about $500 a year to be able to keep that corporation up and running. And then your equity would be held inside of that company, so that if the company is sold, you've got to pay your capital gains. Like if the company is acquired, you pay your capital gains on that. And then that holding company would be wholly owned by either you individually in your country, if you're Canadian as an example, or it would be held by another holding company in your respective country. That's the way that I would do it if I was going to do things like that.
It's always good, because in the US, this shareholder thing is very playbook driven. Everything is template. Stripe Atlas is good, but Liam, I have to fix you, because I had 4 companies in US. The cost is Stripe Atlas is $500, but you're going to be a Delaware company, which is $800 franchise tax. And on top of it, you need to have an accounting software, which is, if you use Wave Apps, it's free, but if you use QuickBooks, it's for like around $500 a year. And then you need a bookkeeper, which is mostly $40 an hour, but there's cheaper bookkeepers as well. And then on top of it, you need to have a corporate tax lawyer, corporate tax filing every year, which is 1120. They call it for C Corps, that you have to file every year, which is around 70 pages most of the time. But a corporate accounting can do that. So the cost of having a US company is most of the time is around $4,000 to $5,000.
You're right.
To be just
actually,
safe.
My financial statement on those are literally like 2 line items, and I still get charged the same amount regardless of whether they're incredibly simple or incredibly complex. I've thought one year of actually doing them myself, but then I thought to myself,
no,
that's
you cannot do
stupid.
that. You can't. It's so many small itty-bitty details that is like unbelievable.
Exactly.
But there is some. If anyone wants to do that, like, we can help you. Stripe Atlas is a great stuff to start, and then after Stripe Atlas, like I suggested I recommend some good accountants, which is really, really cheap and efficient, and you can ask them a lot of questions. And this is a good way. A lot of companies are doing it, actually.
Yeah, no, I'm just literally checking. Corpo Max as well is another really good one. If you want to be able to set up your Delaware C Corp. Okay, so next question is from Eric. Any ideas on best way to pay international contractors in a cost-effective way, efficient way, and easy to track on a GAAP financial basis? So let's just remove 1 and 2, because that's basically RemoteTeam. You just go to remoteteam.com, you sign up, and you check it out. Let's focus on number 3, easy way to track on a GAAP financial basis.
So that is really good. So we are also launching an integration with QuickBooks. And it's really the way we suggest people to do it is some people using I'm trying not to go a lot of deep accounting, but You can track it as a department, or you can track it under one chart of accounts called independent contractors. The way I do it is I put it under departments and then track it like that. But there's a lot of ways you can do that, and it will be long if I answer, but you can text me or email me or write it through our intercom, and we can give him some best practices how to do it in the accounting software.
Okay, got it. And then last question here, and then we got to cut it because then otherwise we'll be here for a while. Katie, what trends are you noticing about compliance regarding ICs with working with remote and flexible time? I find it's a very gray area because it's much easier to argue they aren't an employee given the flexibility. But is the legislation catching up to those gray areas? So this is kind of just a question of like the previous infrastructure of remote work kind of catching up with the reality of remote work. Where do you really see that happening, let's say over the next 2 years?
Yeah, over the next 2 years, I think it will change dramatically, because the reason is the countries are becoming, I believe, more and more people will work remotely. I see this trend because let's say you are in Turkey, Istanbul, and you are working remotely. The guy will say, okay, if I'm working remotely, why I'm not working for a European country or Silicon Valley company, right? And then I see some countries like Russia did something called solo entrepreneurs for independent contractors. They just say, you have solo, you become a different kind of entity as a person, and they just take it at tax on top of the invoice, on top of the money, and then you don't do any payroll tax, and it's fully compliant. And I have a feeling that a lot of countries will go to that route because they want to bring the US dollars in their country. And as you said, it's really gray area. But Upwork, Odesk, Elance, there's thousands of, maybe millions of people working remotely as an independent contractor, like every single company, even they do IPO or not. Like I have a guy who works in Lyft, and Lyft is working with the independent contractor relationship as an employee, so as a team member, like a growth person in their ads, but as an independent contractor, right? So it's really gray area, and it's catching up. But this is a 40-year system, 50-year system that people are doing this for years. And the best way is you protect yourself as much as possible in the contracts. And Ömer, our lawyer, is here. And we actually consult with local lawyers in that countries who work with technology companies and try to do the best compliant agreement out there. And
got it.
And this is the best you can do, I think. And be very clear that he's not an employee, or she's not, or them is not an employee. They are free to work in other places. And there's like few more language there that will protect a lot of companies. And to be honest, I am not a lawyer. You are not Uber as well, that the country, like, I don't know personal the cases that maybe that exist. Like a country like Ukraine goes to a Silicon Valley company and says, guys, you have like 10 independent contractors here, we're gonna sue you, right? They don't even have a legal ground, by the way. Like they don't even have a legal jurisdiction that they can, but they can create a problem for your contractors.
Well, and that's actually something that Eduardo just mentioned here, where he's like, hey, can you point to some famous cases where ICs have been classified as employees in their countries? And the reality is that there are some, they're usually kept quite quiet. Like I know of some just with my clients as an example, which obviously I can't share here because they haven't given me permission to share that type of information. But I will tell you that the vast majority of those clients are ones that make, you know, at least millions of dollars or more per year. And that's kind of, you need to kind of think about that. And again, I'm not a lawyer, nor do we suggest that you take any of this advice, but this is just simply what I'm saying and I'm seeing in the market.
Exactly. Yeah,
And that's,
exactly.
yeah, that's the way
And
we want to
even
say
you
it.
are a lawyer, you don't know that local law, by the way. There is no
Sure.
lawyers in the world that are trained in 100 countries, right? So, but if it's like it, if you are making serious amount of money, a government can tell you that like you are misclassifying these people. And I don't know every country, but in most, I know some that, okay, guys, you have to open an entity here, or you have to
Right.
find a PEO. It
Right.
happened, but these companies are making crazy amount of money, like tens of millions of dollars.
So
And
before we drop off here, I
and
gotta,
independent contractors, when they pay their taxes correctly, then it's not a problem as well. So it's
right.
not like it just, and as a US company or a European company, they have no jurisdiction to go after companies. But if you are Uber or big, making millions of dollars, you have to do, the more you grow, the more compliant we are, right? This is life, right? This is how every company does it.
You forgot to drop the actual you forgot to drop the actual link, and I put it in the chat, and people are dropping off. But thankfully, you're for the this special link is for the people that didn't drop off and have actually paid attention to us just talk about weird remote work, legal compliance stuff, which, by the way, I could talk about for about 4 or 5 hours. There may only be like me and you and maybe 5 other people on planet Earth that are as interested in this as we are. But so if you go to dashboard.remoteteam.com/runningremote, you're going to get 6 months of free service.
Free, yeah,
which is pretty amazing.
Amazing.
I'm actually going to sign up for that. That's pretty amazing. So you guys should go and check that out. And I'm sure once you're in the dashboard, you'll be able to get all of the stuff that they're talking about, all of the contractor agreements, all that kind of stuff. Hopefully Omar gets that contract out to everybody within the next little while so that people can jump on it. I've been really impressed by all the questions, by the way. Super interesting questions from everyone in the audience. I didn't know that you guys liked this stuff or nerded out on this stuff as much as the two of us do. So that's very exciting that that you guys have these types of questions. But I'm getting yelled at to stop the session. So any last points from you, Sahin, before we drop off?
No, this is great, and it's always like stay hungry, stay foolish, stay bootstrap, and then do more compliant things over time, and build product, focus on your product, and we focus on the rest. Like this is
for anyone
the thing.
For anyone that wants a recording of this, it will be up on the YouTube channel, just youtube.com/runningremote. We can put that in the chat as well. So if you want to go and check it out there, you're going to be able to get access to that. I don't know whether or not that 6-month offer will still exist if you're watching the stream on YouTube. Okay, cool. So yeah,
no.
Oh no,
yeah,
it doesn't.
We cannot filter that. We cannot filter that. So anyone,
like if you guys want to sign up for that, I would highly suggest you sign up for it right now, so that you can just get it, and it doesn't cost you anything. It costs you an email opt-in to be able to get it for right now, so you can kind of play around with it. And then if you're on YouTube, this may or may not be available for you. But if it isn't available,
if they join a running remote conference next time, then they will be
there we go.
eligible.
There we go. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks a lot, Sahin. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah,
this was amazing. Super intuitive. And like, I think we basically just told everybody all of the legal ramifications for remote HR, and payroll, which is very, very exciting, and something that, as I said before, very boring issue, but really important if the IRS starts knocking on your door. So with that said, if you guys have any other questions, again, just go to the YouTube channel, check that out. If you're watching this on stream, put down in the comments below and on YouTube, and we'll be able to answer your questions there. I know there's a whole bunch of questions that were in the chat that we just really couldn't get to. I'm sorry, we got distracted, but put them down there and we'll be able to answer them. Thanks a lot, guys.
Cool, guys. Have a great day. Have a great day. Liam, thank you so much. Thanks so much running remote. Thank you. Have a great day, guys.